Well, hello there. Welcome to the You-est You podcast. This is Julie Reisler. I am so graciously and honored to be your host today and every day. And you are in for such a treat, my friends. You have no idea. This guest today is somebody that I was so inspired by. I cannot wait to have you get to meet Bernadette yourself. Let me tell you a little bit about Bernadette Pleasant so you know who you are about to have the honor of getting to know. Bernadette Pleasant, oh my gosh, intoxicating and energetic. She is a fiery, sensual speaker, somatic healer, and creator of Femme, a mind-body wellness program. Bernadette has spent a lifetime exploring creative visualizations and celebrations of the human form, from sensual dance to somatic healing. She is a gifted healer, dancer, and entrepreneur. She channels her personal journeys and her radical empathy into transformative, immersive experiences that empower and celebrate people of all genders, ages, sizes, and fitness levels. Bernadette travels globally, empowering all through classes, private workshops, retreats, and conference engagements. With certifications in the Nia technique, Nia 5 stages, ageless grace, pole dance, somatic healing, Reiki, and integrated energy therapy, she also has studies in African, tribal, and free dance. Bernadette Pleasant promotes emotional freedom through movement and empowerment, which I can attest to. As an experienced entrepreneur and the founder of Femme, Bernadette Pleasant regularly leads discussions on emotional healing, inclusive movement, and empowerment for all. Her authenticity, charisma, and warmth allow her to empathize with and inspire those ready for a journey of emotional exploration and affirmation. Intuitive and engaging, Bernadette is a vibrant, sensual speaker who connects with those who have been silenced and shut down to support their physical, emotional, and healing journeys, whether in a classroom, from a podium, or a one-on-one. Bernadette is also a woman of color who comes from a long line of natural healers who have used touch and movement to help others find peace, empowerment, and wellness. Her classrooms welcome without judgment and support participants' paths to finding comfort in their own skin. In the Femme experience, Bernadette creates a safe space for all ages, backgrounds, body types, and dance skills to explore their sensual selves. Everyone is empowered to fully embrace and embody all of their emotions and fully express them through movement, such as joy, sorrow, rage, ecstasy, and more. And all are welcome at Femme. Everyone is infused with the affirmation, it's your body. You can do whatever you want with it, including love it unapologetically. Oh my gosh, I just love you, Bernadette. Thank you for being here. You're amazing.
Thank you so much, Julie, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you and your guest.
Oh my gosh, what a gift. Well, I want to let people know, for those tuning in, first of all, we're going to have all of your information, your website. Like, anyone listening, you've got to find out more about Bernadette and her classes and her workshops and her anything and everything. I went last night, without realizing we were interviewing today, to your Femme workshop. And I got to tell you, it was mind blowing. It was healing. It was so powerful for me. And I just thought, I am so grateful that I got to experience it, because now we can talk about it and talk about what you do and what the just healing you're adding to the planet.
I'm so happy you had a chance to experience it last night. It was so great to have you there, and what timing. This is so amazing to now sit and talk to you, having experienced it, because sometimes that's not the case, and we don't get to share in the work. We hear about it, but you really got to share in the experience, and that is so wonderful to me.
Oh, well, thank you. I just, there's so much about you. Like I'm trying to, I'm like, where do we begin? Because you do so much, and there's so much that I believe for everyone listening that I want to make sure we talk about, because there's a lot of pieces to, movement and healing and emotions. And I guess, one of the questions I usually start out with is kind of this idea around living into your sacred purpose, being your You-est You. Mm-hmm. Like, what got you into this whole world of movement and dance and emotional healing through your body?
I love this question so much. And I am really creating from what worked for me. My own personal need to heal, having been through quite a bit of trauma as a young child, and noticing that in my body, in my very own body and those around me, that there was a shutdown, that we were completely shut down emotionally. And there's so many reasons why people become shut down, but it was my desire to no longer live this way because it felt so uncomfortable. And it was from work that I incorporated in, freedom that I was able to find, just sort of pulling those things together and really looking at the fact that this work was necessary for me, terribly effective, truly beneficial. And then I began to share it with people who I thought could use some release, some expansion, some next level growth. That's where this came from. It came from my own personal need. So I put a lot of you in this, a lot of me. It is the me is me. I have truly needed this for my own.
Where did you begin, and how has this work helped you to heal? And then we'll kind of move into what you've seen, because I know you've worked with so many people. But
Sure. Well, I have to say, sometimes in business, when I've created, I sat down with a business plan.
Yeah.
I've always done things that I actually loved, and I'm really grateful for. Well, that's not true. There are a few jobs that I did not love. I just had to do those. So we've all had that.
Oh, yeah.
But there was, I started to do things that I enjoyed and loved. I enjoyed helping people. I owned a bridal salon in New York City for many years. And it was because of my love for making people feel beautiful and just being connected to that. This body of work didn't start like the bridal shop. The bridal shop did start with a plan. I sat down and wrote a plan. This was very different. For me, I found myself aware that I was taking up less emotional space. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Nowadays, people will say you don't want to be that person. And that person could be the person who's angry about something and who's known for being angry, or someone who's a crier and always crying about things, or someone who's confident and really seen as being cocky or headstrong because they go for things. And what I started to notice is there was no place to just be. I couldn't share all of who I was without being judged in some way. Sometimes I was sad. Sometimes I was really confident about something I felt good about. And why wouldn't this be cheered on? Why would this be considered too much? And so I started to notice, and this was happening at home and as a child. So this happened right there and immediately, and it's so subtle. No one sets up to shut someone down, but being told you're too much, being shushed, being given that look when you're excited about something, things started to get very narrow. There started to be this really narrow margin of emotional range that I could enjoy and celebrate. And this wasn't just for me. I was noticing this happening for other people. And I just started to realize it just sort of sucked the juice out of life. All these things I had to be, and all this curtailing that needed to be done in order to be liked. Yeah. And so this kind of living wasn't really working for me. I got a big personality, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, and because there isn't. And so I decided I wanted to do things. I wanted to act out. I wanted to be the explosive, fiery person that I am. And so what happened is I used to go to a dance club, a salsa dance club, and there was something that happened in this dance club that didn't happen in other places that I had frequented. And I started to realize this thing that happened was a level of freedom that I had. And it felt so good. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but they played live drums. And there is something that happens to the nervous system when live drums are played. They're hypnotic. And that hypnotic effects helps to take down that, I wonder what I look like, or hopefully I don't look crazy, or, is this too much? It took all of that away. And I just found this bursting natural freedom. And I really started to look at why I felt so free, so in my body, and so at peace when I left this club every Wednesday night in Newark, New Jersey. Every Wednesday night I left there feeling bigger, fuller. Thursday was a good day because of Wednesday night. I just was this better person because I was my You-est You. I really was, I tapped into that thing. And I decided that I wanted to live more like this. I wanted more expression. I wanted spaces that had those healing instruments of drums and those the hands that play them. And I wanted to integrate that into the work that I wanted to do, which was to be more expressive, to be more of who I am. And that's how this work began. Wow. It was so natural. It's like, wow, this really works for me. And yes, of course, there were other elements that came into play, but these were the two big things. And I love movement. I love to dance. I wanted to create spaces where people came to just move, because I'll be honest with you, what happens when those drums start to play is you're not really thinking about where your left foot lands. You really are just sort of taken over with a natural, the purest sense of freedom, because it comes from within. It's not given. It's not some external drug or a sip of cocktail to bring you to this place. This comes from a natural place. And these are all elements that really help this body of work start to come together.
That's so beautiful. I love, and so powerful that it really originated organically from you tuning into that natural beat.
Yes. And it's so real. We all have it. We can all access it given the right circumstances. For me, it was on that dance floor. And then I really became passionate about sharing this, deepening my own work, personal work, but sharing this and bringing others to it.
Amazing. One of the things you said, there's a lot of things you said I want to come back to. I got my notes. You said something that especially I think as a woman that I see with other women, you mentioned about being too much or taking up, I know last night we talked about taking up too much space.
Yes.
This is such a big one. And, I know, well, there's a lot to talk about emotions and you even mentioned it last night. I also believe, when you don't express them, and I did a lot of life not expressing them.
Oh yeah.
We internalize them. We stuff them down. I use food. Other people use drugs. I use shopping.
I was shopping. I bought everything because it felt good.
Yes. Something I eat everything.
So good. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch everything on TV or social media. There are so many vices. Yeah.
Yeah. Even to the point of, I believe there's a connection with when you have illness and you have out of balance in your body, with emotions not being expressed. I'd love to talk about this whole area of being too much and taking up space. And, what you created last night, what you do around that, to me is just, it is like people are craving this. They're starving. Not enough of this.
We start that class. And one of the questions I often ask when I'm beginning a femme experience is, who here has ever felt or been told that they were too much? So many have heard this, and we hear it in so many different ways. Some ways aren't so overt, but then others really are. Those words can be used, that you're too much. And it starts to shame our being.
Yeah.
There's shame built in. And what's really interesting is you think about a toddler. Toddlers don't hold back. They don't do it. They don't know how to hold back. They just show up and they're, in all their joy and all their anger and all their crankiness, all of it shows up. And the great thing about that is they don't spend the day like that because they have experienced or expressed whatever they were feeling.
Yeah.
They just move on to the next thing. And so what starts to happen is, you can't run around like a toddler, so all the time, everywhere. But there's got to be a way of curtailing behavior without bringing in the shame piece. Because it's the shame that says I'm too much or I'm too loud or and I've heard people say, like, I laugh too loud. What is that?
Yeah.
How is joy something that needs to be contained? And I usually start with joy because when people think of being too much, it's other outrageous behaviors that they're thinking about. Like, I don't want to be too angry, or I don't want to be too bold because people think of me as in a certain way, or I'm sad a lot. There may have been a lot of things that may have caused you sadness.
Yeah.
And rather than consider your natural state too much, how about removing the shame and just being honest and saying, I have anger. I'm angry now. Doesn't mean it's a lifetime. It's not an entire sentence, life sentence, but it is important when there's anger, because there are injustices. There are injustices that take place, and those really stir something in you, and it can feel like anger, and that's totally fine. It's completely fine. You can't take a bat and beat the shit out of everything that makes you angry. I mean, that really can create a problem.
Yeah.
But what you can do is have a voice around it and feel justified in speaking to an injustice. And that's what I'm talking about. The expression of emotion without shame.
Yes.
Around any emotion. Because it's that shame that starts to make us small. I often say that it feels like pulling on emotional spanks and literally feeling that tightness that exists because your natural state is considered too much.
Yeah. I think you're also, I mean, I love what you're saying. You said this again last night. I know I've heard you say this before, that we're emotional beings. And honestly, I know I forget that sometimes. I do a lot of sitting still, meditating. Even I know a lot of people tuning in are into personal growth and development. And so you might sit still, you might meditate, you might journal. Those are great things. But what I got from last night and the time I was with you before, the big experience in New York, was my body had a need to let go of things that does not just come through in a pen and a paper.
Yes.
And so I loved what you said, and maybe just talk about that for a minute. Like, we are emotional beings. Somewhere we forgot or were taught or shamed out of feeling. And frankly, I can tell you last night when you said, okay, the next one is just listen, is grief. And I thought, oh Lord, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and I thankfully I was like, all right, I got something I can think about. And it was so powerful, but I got to tell you, I felt the resistance, and I'm like, that's okay. Sorry. I just don't want to do grief, but that's all right. That's emotion.
It is completely all right to not, you experience it. And this body of work, Femme was created to have a container for all of who we are.
Yeah.
There are so many shades and nuances of every emotion, so we can't even speak to them all.
Yeah.
But I believe we mimic nature.
Yeah.
There is so much in all of who we are. And when I think of the emotional range, I think of weather. I think of, we have all the temperatures, all the elements, all these things that all come into play. So if we look at our emotional range like weather, there are going to be some bright sunny days, and they're going to be fantastic. And if you like that, and then there's going to be sometimes that forecast has a hint of overcast.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's going to be a light drizzle. Some days are just really gloomy, gray. Sometimes there's snow. Sometimes there's a tsunami.
Mm.
All of that
Yeah.
takes in our emotional range. The joy, the grief, the sorrow, the anger, the rage. Mother Nature doesn't hold back.
Mm.
When we see the forecast, when we get the forecast, if it's storming, we prepare for it.
Yeah.
If it's, whatever that, if it's the sun is shining, we might think of exactly what sunscreen we need to put on, glasses, a hat. We prepare for it. We don't say that the weather is too much.
Yeah.
We literally just prepare ourselves to go into it and take it as it comes, because that's how it is. If we treated ourselves like that, today I am sad, maybe there's some loss. That's a very natural happening. No one wants it. But rather than appear fine, put on the mask of fine and go out into the world. As a Black woman, I want to give an example of that. My dealing with some grief and pushing through and showing up and putting on a mask of strength, gives me a label of a strong Black woman. The problem with that label is sometimes things hurt, and I have grief, and I don't want to be that. Right. I don't want to be seen as that. I want my strength to be the fact that I am vulnerable. Yeah. And I want to be seen in this emotional range just like anyone else. And it is important that we all see each other like that. And it starts within, being honest and stating where you are. I'm angry about something. I feel really good about this podcast I'm going to do because I'm feeling very confident, and just be okay with that. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with, someone will say you're bragging or you're putting too much attention on yourself. Well, we work really hard to do good. So it's okay to stand in that and be celebrated for that and just feel good about yourself for that. And so there's so many emotional ranges. I just spoke to confidence, but what I feel is that if we give ourselves this emotional latitude and that we kind of enjoy the whole range, we become more sensitive to other people when they're experiencing some weather, when they're experiencing a tsunami. That we don't, because we're more sensitive to the whole emotional range, we can see people where they are and they get to show up just as they are, and they don't have to put on masks. And this kind of thing that makes me want to see a world or communities or groups that I hang with where I can be all of who I am, and they are invited to do the very same. And I think that's how we start to grow and express better.
So love what you're saying. So connected. I'm thinking for those tuning in, think about what you said, Bernadette, about nature. Nature doesn't doesn't hold back. There's no, I've thought this before, you can see the tallest tree and then another tallest tree and then a different tree and then flowers and then weeds that are gorgeous. It's all good, all there. And it's such a great teacher. And I also love this idea, I did the whole mask thing. I think many people probably listening have worn some sort of mask. I went the people pleaser route and I just shoved it down with food. Some people rebel. We got a whole range.
Yes.
But I love what you're saying as emotional beings. Really what I got too is this word of acceptance. When you accept whatever it is, for you might have anger or grief or frustration, and just being allowed to have those feelings and to even say, like you said that last night, where is it in your body? And then I just have movement. It's like, to me, I think about, all right, being your highest self, your you-est you. This is a massive component to that most people aren't aware of, don't know.
Yeah.
So someone listening is totally new to this, new to you, to femme, to the idea, maybe even just movement through emotions. I know I've wanted to do that. I didn't even know where to begin. What would you say to somebody? Like, where do you start? What can you expect? Just what words of wisdom do you have in the beginning?
In the beginning, just trusting that you're going to be taken care of and showing up a little bit bigger. I think of emotional expression as something that is, there's a lot of shutdown. There's a lot of shutdown. So first agreeing before you even embark on this, that you're going to be gentle with yourself. And then what the encouragement to do would be to move your body. Yeah, I think we get a lot of advice through books and there are things we can listen to and watch, and lectures we can attend, and we can watch things a lot, but there comes a point where you can get it in the head, but the body and head connection is where something starts to live in your cells.
Yeah.
That's muscle memory. Muscle memory does not come from reading the book or watching the story. Muscle memory comes from something deeply impacting you and you're moving. You're moving. It's that integration. Our bodies are water. We need to move this body. My classes, we use drums so that people can just move their body. What I'm not encouraging, I'll often hear is, I don't dance. I don't teach a dance class. I really don't. I'm not teaching dance moves. What I'm teaching is your body already knows how to move. You did the baby's wiggle. You were moving in utero. So movement this isn't dancing necessarily. It's trusting that your body knows how to do these things. They come innately. If you look at weather, or sort of like the cycle of a tree, how the leaves, they drop off, they dry, they drop, they come back in spring and bud, and they grow and they're beautiful. It's a natural process. Moving your body, it could be a walk, it could be a sway. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but it is telling yourself that your emotions are okay, acting them out, acknowledging them when you have them, and doing so with the movement. The reason why movement is so important is so often if we tell ourselves a story or if we feel a certain way and we're frozen, a lot of times when there's a lot of emotion, we freeze. But in that, the emotion is stuck, and it doesn't get, the trauma is not moving, which is what's needed. It's that combination. And it doesn't necessarily have to be trauma, because I speak about joy. But what I mean with that is, whatever you are saying yes to, whatever you are acknowledging exists in your body, allowing movement to be around that, giving it voice and sound is a way of starting. That's really important. When there's a lot of emotion, and I'm careful never to say good or bad, light or dark, because I think that there are no good, bad, light or dark emotions, just emotions that need to be expressed.
I love that.
And so when these emotions are expressed, sometimes it comes out with just a sound, or notice what happens in your body and in your muscles, on your face. When you think of grief, our face tends to relax and drop, feel heavy. When we think of joy, there's vibrance in our being. And when we think of confidence, there's just something that happens in our structure and stature. It's acknowledging these things. And maybe you play in the mirror or do it to a little bit of music if you can't get to a class, but hopefully you'll be able to join a class that myself or one of my teachers are offering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seriously, people, you gotta look her up. Talk about choosing the word femme. I want to make sure we get I'm going to have your website and everything with
Okay,
share with
sure.
everybody. But what made you decide to use femme? I also have a question about, we'll come back to it actually. I'll hold it, but I want to start there. What made you, because I love it, with the exclamation point. I love it.
Well, the exclamation point came a little later, but femme was, the intention was who I had become.
Yeah.
Was this very shut down person who is pretty much afraid to be all of who I am. And in my determining that this wasn't working for me, I got to rebirth this. Femme is the birthing. Femme, birth comes from the femme. And that it was, I get to choose, I get to show up, I get to be, I get a redo because I say so. And so there goes femme. And for a while, I tried to talk myself out of using the drums and doing the class a little simpler for many of the wrong reasons. And that wasn't where my heart was.
Yeah.
But it costs more to run a class with live drums. You have to pay a drummer. Yeah. And when I decided I was going to do this, my writer, Karen Chambers, and I were talking about it, and I was defined. I am doing this. And she said, you said that like there's an exclamation point on the end. And she says, come to think of it, I've been thinking femme needs an exclamation point. And so we joked about it and thought, put the exclamation point on it because I mean it, damn it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. So great. Well, I will tell you, this morning I was so inspired. I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some drumming. I'm going to just move a little. Like, I don't want to lose this. I did find I have a favorite meditation app that had some drumming. And I will say, it is not the same as live drumming. I'm grateful for whoever put the drumming on there. Yes. But it was a moment of like, all right, it is not the same of what we had last night. It works. Yes. But I'm so glad that you decided to do that. There is something so primal.
Yes.
So, as you said, in utero, we heard that heartbeat first thing. And I'd love to talk a little bit about primal energy, sensuality. Yes. I think especially for women. I mean, and men too, if you're listening. We have men and women, but especially I think for women, often there's this like, you're either too much or over the top there, or you're under expressed. And I just believe we all have the right to, this is a primal aspect. So I'm just curious your takeaway on primal sensuality.
Yes.
What do we do about that?
We just do it, and we're insistent that we're going to do it and do it big and well and unapologetically.
Yeah.
I always say that the healing that I needed to be done on a primal level. I was not going to get this in stillness. And I'm all for stillness. I have a meditation practice. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's one component.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get this in being quiet. I wasn't going to get this on the couch. It was time for me to growl. It was time for me to take up space.
Yeah.
It was time to be, I needed to loosen these hips. I wanted to move my body. And I wanted to open my mouth and say what was on my mind. And so I think it takes us back to in the combination of using those drums. The drums are used because it's the first sound we've heard. The reason why I found freedom on that dance floor at that salsa club was because those drums relax our nervous system. It's the first sound we've all ever heard.
Yeah.
So we use this, and whatever our connection to how our birth was, this was the first sound. It vibrated through our bones, and it continues to always will have this hypnotic effect. And I use the word hypnotic a lot because we are conditioned to be less of who we are.
Yep.
In a relaxed state, which is what those drums help to produce, we are remembering what's possible.
Yeah.
And because it's my desire, not just that those classrooms have a wider emotional expression, it is my desire that that will be taken out into the real world. And that's why this primal way of meeting us at our most basic need, that sound, that ability to show up brightly and love all of who we are, and love all of who others are as well, happens because we are going back, not starting here, but going back.
Wow. I just like, I need like a moment. Cause guys listening, seriously, you gotta check out a femme class somehow, get your butt to one. This was it was so powerful last night. One thing that I noticed is, and again, like even if it is starting in your room, putting on some drumming or music, tribal music or binaural beats or something.
Yes.
You know, what I found was it was like natural. Like you said, I didn't care what anyone thought. I just wanted to move. And it was, you know, you talked about when animals get scared, they shake it off. They shake. And you had us do some shaking, maybe just to say something about that, because I found that to be so healing, and it's almost like it reset me doing that.
That is in fact why that between certain emotions. So what happens in a femme experience is I take the room on an emotional tour. There's a set of emotions that are put together in a way to take care of the attendees energetically. Between certain emotions, we shake. The two emotions there are three emotions that we would shake in. We use two of them in a normal femme experience, and that is rage and grief. The other emotion that there would be shaking after would be fear. I do fear in a bigger workshop, not in a 90-minute session, because these classes are truly built to take care of you energetically.
Yeah.
The intention of shaking resets the nervous system. It cleanses the palate. It helps to shake the trauma. The term "shake it off," that term actually comes from the fact that in the animal kingdom, when there is the example is when an animal, a deer or a gazelle, is being chased. It would be a gazelle is being chased by a lion. If the gazelle gets away, once it's safe, its body goes into tremor. And once the tremor is complete, it walks away.
Yeah.
It's able to do that because it has reset its nervous system. It shakes the trauma. And it's important not to just, give some sort of flimsy shake. Your body must shake. It needs to give sound as well. We do this whole thing, and it needs to reverberate through the entire body. What that does is it cleanses the palate. If we were having a food here, this would be the sorbet dish. It is meant to cleanse the palate so that you can reset and go. If we do it normally, if our body has truly experienced some trauma, we would shake. It's something that our
Sympathetic nervous.
That's it. I'm so losing the word right here. Nervous does that, and this you can also bring it on by doing the shaking, and we do that just to reset. And I just, to your point, live drums certainly produces something different than canned music. But I'll share a playlist so that
awesome.
so that they can your listeners can find some drumming beats until they can get into a live class with it.
Awesome. Yeah, love that.
My pleasure.
That's fantastic. You know what you were saying about shaking, it's something, just a connection just went off for me, which is when I did a master's degree in health and wellness coaching and nutrition, and talked a lot about stress response. And we read this book called Why Zebras Don't Have Ulcers.
Uh-huh.
And it just occurred to me, well, why? Because like you said, learning from nature, if you learn from the animals. So, zebra, when they're stressed, I'm sure, like a gazelle, would shake it off, which means they're not holding on to it, which means ulcers are often caused by stress.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that really connects. Like, that was part of last night. And part of the reason I was like blown away is how freeing and how, what's the word? It's like, it just felt like I dumped all of these toxic, I don't know, and toxic energy, things that
you don't need.
Yeah. Like it just came out of my pores. And I think that's the piece that's often, even though I love meditation, I do it every day. It's a non-negotiable. It's different though. It is not this. And I love yoga and I love other movement, but this is different. I got to tell you, this is, it's your emotion.
It is. And it is in its purest form. And it can be, it can be ugly and sweaty and gritty, and it's all those things. And that's all so wonderful. Someone attending my class once, she got this straight posture, and she said, your class, I'm used to dancing like this. And she said, and I like dancing like this, but yours, I get a little like this. And she sort of bent her knees, and she's like, I feel a little primal here. And that's it. It's perfect. And because release doesn't always show up in an upright position. You might just need to bend your knees a little bit. And this is, being able to express and give sound to these emotions. I often speak of the voice piece because that's so important to me, to be able to make the sound using the connection of what emotion and sound. Women in particular have often lost sound when it comes to joy. It's reduced to a smile, or something between a smile and a grimace, or when you're angry about something, like the sound goes away, and becoming voiceless around certain emotions. And so it is important to bring in that sound piece. I like my classes loud, but even if someone is whispering, just as long as they're starting to exercise that muscle of acknowledging emotion. That voice piece, so important.
I love what you also said. This is something I want to just emphasize. This is very important. And it struck me, and I'm just guessing other human beings tuning in, it's going to strike them too. The whole idea that there is no good or bad, really, truly, and I'm talking like, because what my brain said is, well, I'd rather feel joy than grief.
Sure. Yes.
So it's, okay, you might rather prefer one feeling, one emotion or the other. However, understanding that all of them have an important place. None is ranked higher or worse. And that what I love about what you're saying, this is a different kind of container and space that we're creating as human beings. It's the space of full compassion for all of it. And my sense is that shame can't live in the light of that.
It can't.
No.
It can't. When you're willing to say, I have this, and there's no apology about it, and we accept it just like weather. There is no good or bad. It really isn't.
Right.
And it's accepting of all of what's possible. There are emotions that one would much rather experience. I much rather set up camp, enjoy, confidence, and a little lust.
Me too. All three of those.
I'll take
a lot of lust, actually.
A lot of that. How about that? I was being coy. But I don't I, I, I feel like, and I'm going to give this example, that being able to express an emotion. Have you ever experienced carrying something around that you should have let go a lot longer ago,
Oh,
some time ago, but you
oh yeah.
still, it's still there, you know,
Yeah.
whoever that person was that you didn't say the things to, and
Yeah.
whatever. I have a boss that I really needed to say fuck you to, and I didn't. And, you know, and I still feel that. If I saw him today, I'd still feel that way. So I think about emotions that are not completely expressed.
Yeah.
Because when something's fully expressed, it's clean.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
You have shaken it off, literally.
Yeah.
You've gotten to the other side. I often say you don't get over it, you get through it. But you go
Mm.
through it. So when you don't express something, it feels a little sticky. And I often refer to this as shit on your shoe.
Mm.
And then rather, if you have just stepped in something, rather than just taking the shoe off, clean this off, it's done, it's done. Express the emotion. You're now dragging that shoe along with you and just like
Mm.
scraping and hoping you can get that off. But that's what it feels like when you are
Yeah.
heavy with emotion that has not been expressed. It doesn't feel good, and you're just dragging it along, the shit on the
Oh,
shoe.
that's a,
And that's how life can be. It can be a
yeah.
lifetime if you don't ever find a way of expressing this.
Yeah.
It can be a longer period than you wish. But to take something, it's nasty. Nobody wants to deal with this.
Yeah.
But to take it, deal with it, you can be done with it, and now you put the shoe on and go for a walk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a great metaphor.
Yeah.
And how many of us, I'm thinking, you know, tuning in and you're thinking, oh, I guess still have that thing to work through. I love what you said. It sounds like something that people can do is lock the door, go look in the mirror and put some beats on. We'll get a list to you and just see what your body does. See how you react. Like you were saying that. And that's a great way to just, I mean, what happened for me last night, I think I said this in the circle, was I actually have a sense now of what grief looks like and what anger looks and feels like versus I had a sense of anger. I have a pretty good way. I'm a fire sign. I have no problem accessing that one. I always said I should have like a punching bag in my house because I get really angry and then it goes away really fast. Like I'm super fiery. But the grief one, man, that is the one.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, I'm better with anger. And I realized I want to know what grief feels like. And that was very healing.
I want to take you back to that shit on the shoe thing because we're not done with that. If you don't express the grief, if you don't express the grief when there's grief, if we somehow try to, it's equivalent to taking some air freshener and spraying it on that shoe.
Good
you
analogy.
Still have and you're just spraying, as opposed to dealing with this, getting through this, being honest enough in yourself and seeing the true value and expressing your emotion, feeling worthy that you can be this kind of honest, this kind of vulnerable. It gives other people a chance to show their humanity.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, the being honest to oneself is what this is about. You know, a woman who attends my class on a regular basis started to talk about her teenage son who was going through quite a bit with school, and he didn't want to speak to how angry he was about a situation. And after, coming, she would say to him, well, it's okay to be angry. It's okay. And like, let's talk about this. And how did that make you feel? And he's like, well, it didn't feel good when someone, and she's like, and what else? And what else? And getting more and more out of him. And for him to not feel that he had to do something different, that this was a place he could come home and say, there was something that I didn't feel good about. And he wasn't now taking care of his mom and then taking care of the students. He actually got to be seen for how he was feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so needed. I have children and I'm doing a decent job. This is an area I'm thinking, okay, how can I, as I learn to do this, how can I support them to literally move through emotions? Yeah, that's huge, Bernadette.
It truly, by this work is intended to help us individually.
Yeah.
And the more expressive we are, it actually helps others see that that's possible.
Yeah.
And now they have a place where they can feel safe to express themselves. We've all seen the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, I'm curious if you were to kind of state in the biggest way possible, your desire, the kind of legacy you hope to lead. Because I have the sense you are out to lead a legacy. This is not just, and I love that. I was like, that's what, I'm in that game too. Like, what the heck are we doing here if we're not creating a massive shift? And I am curious what that would look like for you. You'll know you've hit it when you create this.
I have 3 beautiful grandsons.
Oh my gosh.
Jaden is 15 years old and Ace and Ross are about to be 7-year-old. They're twins. My legacy would be that my grandsons never feel shame around their emotions. That they feel that they can walk into any room, take it higher, meet it where it's at, express themselves, feel unapologetic about that. And the arenas that they're creating with friends of theirs is that they can show up in all the weather and that it can be seen, and that there's, with all the other burdens that can exist, that their emotional being constrained emotionally is not one of them. That's the legacy I'd like to live.
That's so awesome. And I love that they're all male.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
and they've got lots of emotion too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we all do. Oh my gosh. So, I'm just, for those, if you've not seen Bernadette, you look so vibrant. And I have no idea your age, but the idea I didn't even know you.
I am turning 54.
Wow.
In a few weeks. Yeah.
All right.
54.
So let me
make this look good,
Yeah, you do. Like, move your emotions out, because it like drops years. I mean, you could be in your 30s. Really.
Holding on to emotions can make you look a lot older.
Yeah,
it tears down the body. So that needs to be part of my legacy too. I'm making people younger, one emotional expression at a time.
That should be a tagline. No, I'm not kidding. That is true. It is true. You feel different. It's true. It's like the new anti-aging recipe. Just move
really
your body to Primal beats, to some drumming, and find you. All right. So where can people find you? Where do you teach? Maybe just for a minute, share all your goods.
Yeah. Well, I'm based in New Jersey. I teach in New York City once a month. I have 72 teachers who are teaching throughout the U.S. and we're now in China and the U.K. and Canada. So they can find us on Live Femme, Live, and Femme is FEMME.com. And that'll have a listing of all upcoming events and workshops and teacher trainings. I'll be offering one of those in June. Looking forward to this.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll just let everyone know. I am hoping that I can make the training, because just for myself, even I'm like, I need this and maybe to teach it to others, but you got to check out Bernadette. Seriously. Thank you. One of the things I noticed and acknowledge and honor about you is this ability to create a sacred space for everyone, whoever you are, to express yourself and your emotions. And I really like, that is such a gift. We need more of that. And you do that naturally, intuitively. I can say that even before I took the class, I could feel that about you. And then being in the workshop, and just that all is welcome. And however you show up is perfect, is wonderful. And you just have that ability to create that open space to be however you are, as big as you are. And it's just, this is a gift our world needs. And it's one of the reasons I was like, I got to interview you. And then I got to go to your class. And it's just, this is life-changing. This is becoming your You-est You. This is that, this doing this work. It's powerful, sacred work. I so acknowledge you and honor you, really.
Julie, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to do this work. It is truly, I'm so grateful to have done it, to have created it, and to see it grow. To see it grow makes me so proud. And I express that. I'm really proud about it.
Love it. So confidence.
Yes,
We did that last night. Yes.
Indeed. I know it feels good too, right?
Yeah, I love it. I'm like, confidence.
Confidence.
Awesome. Confidence. You guys, you've got to check out livefemme.com. Everything will be on the show notes, and we will have this. You want to tune in on video so you can see on YouTube how freaking amazing you are and how radiant you are, and just, or if you listen to audio, it's always available both. And thank you for being a warrior for healing in this world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really.
It's time.
Oh, yes.
It's time.
It is time.